Welcome back to the Act Two podcast, a podcast for the real-life working screenwriter. I'm Tasha Huo.
And I am Josh Hallman.
And as a reminder, we are Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter, of which this podcast is just one of the things we do. So thank you for joining us here. Please remember to, of course, subscribe, write a comment, rate us, tell us, I don't know, the weirdest thing an executive has ever said to you. And also DM us with questions, topic suggestions, follow-up questions of our episodes, all very helpful so that we can give you more information that you actually want and need. You can do that at ActTwoWriters@gmail.com, all spelled out, or on our Instagram and Twitter at ActTwoWriters. I'm Story Thursday on Instagram and Tasha 3.0 on Twitter and Blue Sky.
I'm Joshua Hallman on Twitter, Josh Hallman on Instagram. I love the idea of a weirdest thing an exec has ever said. I feel like we should have people submit and we can post it on our social media anonymously.
I love this plan.
Of course, we will not say who it was from.
Of course not.
But when you said that, we've talked about this before, and I was like, oh, this might be the way. Okay, Tasha.
Yes.
There's been something I've been meaning to tell you, maybe about a week now.
You've been holding it that long?
There's some...
Oh, no, I'm afraid.
It made me laugh, and then I was going to text you, but I was like, oh, I'm going to remind her on the podcast, which I forgot to do, and then now we are on. We were seeing each other again, so now I can tell you.
Okay.
Recently, I was amongst friends, and we were kind of playing a little party game, let's just say. I think it was called Betrayal.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait, you've played this game?
I hate this. I've never played this game, but anyone who's ever told me about it has made me anxious to think about it.
Okay, I don't know if it's this game. There's only one part that I kind of keyed into, and there was a question that came up, and we were talking about if one of your friends betrayed you, or maybe it's called betrayed. It was like, what would be the biggest betrayal that your friend could do to you? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh my God, what would it be? With the exception of, something life-shattering major, right?
Like
it was
sleeping with your wife.
Correct. It would be like, what? Like it couldn't be that. It had to be like something else. So I was thinking about all my friends. I was like, okay, well, if this dude did this, or if this did this, we were kind of talking about it, laughing about it, and then we finished up, and then I was like, well, wait a minute, what would be the biggest betrayal Tasha could do to me? And I think I figured it out. If you came to me one day and you were like, Josh, I don't like Tom Cruise, I think I would be shattered. I really do. I think if you told me that and you were like, this entire time, I've just been saying it to appease you. I don't like Top Gun. I don't like any of the Mission Impossibles. Anything he's associated with, I've never liked him. I just wanted to clear the air with you. Like, if you told me that, I don't know where our friendship would go after that. I'd feel like you were hiding the biggest secret.
Oh my God. That's amazing. I thought you were going to say, and I love that it's not this and it's the other thing. I thought you were going to say, if I came up to you and said, Josh, I want to host the podcast by myself. But it's not that. Like, it's worse.
I didn't go there.
For me to hate Tom Cruise.
Oh, all right. Well, you can do the podcast.
Yeah, I don't care. What, hate Tom Cruise? I'm never speaking to you again.
Wow, my mind didn't even go there. I went to the darkest areas of it, and I just leaped right over the podcast. So,
I can safely say that is not a secret that I'm holding.
Yeah. And what sparked it was because we've been talking about Mission Impossible and having conversations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was having the thought in real time, like, oh my God, what if she's just letting me talk?
No, I mean, cut to me as a 5-year-old watching Top Gun on loop in the era where you had to rewind it to do that, and just like inches from the screen.
Yeah.
If you could see the home videos my dad has of me putting on his like motorcycle helmet and then sitting in my mom's Camaro pretending like it's a jet.
Oh man.
Like, no, Tom Cruise changed my life.
I feel like you were like Poltergeist, where your hand was up to the TV screen just watching Top Gun.
Yes. I realized I was definitely into men after that movie.
Do you have any this week's in writing?
Yes.
Should we do it?
Let's do it.
This week in writing.
I don't know if this is unexpected. I texted you about it and you did not reply, so I which I don't know why, because I'm like really excited about this. I saw The Accountant, the Ben Affleck movie. This is from 2016, by the way. Like,
I'm very familiar. I was going to comment on this.
Josh, it's really good.
I'm aware.
Really good. I remember when this movie came out and I was like, The Accountant is the stupidest fucking name. It's such a fucking P movie. Meh. And then I remember reviews coming in when this movie came out and I thought, okay, Ben Affleck is just going into his like Jason Statham, Gerard Butler stage. But the reviews came out of The Accountant at the time that were like, this is a really good action movie. Don't sleep on this movie. Go see it. And I was like, these can't be true. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't. And then Paul, my husband, has talked about how The Accountant is a really good movie. And I'm like, oh, Paul, bless your heart. And then because the second one is coming out and I thought the trailer looked really good, I went and watched the first one so I could have context. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, the second one is out. It's in the world.
It is. That came out on tax day, which is so funny.
Yeah. I'm aware of how good The Accountant is. And I'm also with you. And I think there's a general perception of The Accountant where people are like, what's The Accountant?
It's an unfortunate name, but it's a really accurate name when you watch it.
I have heard The Accountant 2 is also very, very, very good.
It's amazing.
I know.
It's so fun to discover like a new franchise.
And I think you watch that, and even in The Accountant 2, I think it can spin off and branch off into its own universe. And there can be a thing. I feel like I have to say this. Nicole worked on The Accountant 1 and 2.
No way.
So I feel like I'd be hiding this because one day you're gonna find out and you'll be like, talk about betrayal.
I'm so used to you just not telling me things. It's okay.
I know. Well, I'm only saying that because I would have talked about it with you at some point. And I just remember being like, The Accountant? That's a weird name. And
that seems beneath you, Nicole.
What is this Ben Affleck movie? So yeah, he's doing like a thing. He's having his like Bourne moment. And I don't know if enough people know about it.
Yeah, people should know about it. It's a Bourne moment.
Okay. Mine is AI based.
Okay.
So I've chatted with a few more writers that have all started to adopt AI into their life.
Okay.
And I actually had used it in a way that I was writing a script that took place in various locations in a different country. And there were certain elements that I really needed to lock in, which would normally be a deep dive investigation on Google, which we've all done. I'm like looking at a map. You're trying to like figure out the logistics, even though I don't know if people actually care about it. But as a writer, you're like, well, how long would it take them to get from this town to this town to this town? And what's over here? What's in this town? Because you just can't make this stuff up. So I actually used AI. Basically, I laid out the plan and what's in this town and what kind of food's in this town and what kind of stuff is here and what can they do there? Are there any dive bars over here? Are there parks here? And this took a matter. It was very quick, as you can imagine. So I used it. I got information from it and kind of implemented some of these ideas, and I put some locations in a script and this and this. So someone from that area, from this country, read the script that I did this with and complimented the accuracy of the locations.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was actually probably the first time that's happened. And I've written things in like Chicago. So.
Wow.
I know. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I have talked to other people who have like really used it as like a sounding board for their writing lives.
Like creative questions?
I think that was the way I took it. Mm-hmm. Maybe help creating pitch docs, organizing certain things. Yeah. So that's all.
I don't have the willpower to even fight this anymore.
There is no fighting.
I'm all about, using it as like a Google now.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely use it for that, for sure. Like, why not?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't crossed the creative line yet. Who knows? I mean, it's eventually probably will be seen as a tool the way that Final Draft is a tool. And I no longer have to do it on a typewriter or on a Pages document. I can do it in Final Draft.
A friend that I was having a conversation with who was using it was like, we were having that exact conversation of, well, is this going to be in everyone's lives? Probably, right? Like, or not probably, it will be, but to a creative extent, it's kind of up to the creator, I think.
Yeah.
And so some people are using it actively and other people are just avoiding it because they're purists.
You know, there's something interesting about, you said pitch document, because I was just talking to a writer this week about how stupid pitching is. It's so dumb because it's not a skill that writers typically have. Like the 1% of writers have this naturally. So it's something we all have to learn, which means we have a learning curve, which means our first few pitches are going to suck. Even if we could have written that movie to death and it would have been the coolest thing ever, we don't get hired because we couldn't pitch it properly. So then using AI to kind of cut through that learning curve a bit and also like the time, because you waste your time creating a pitch because you could be doing actual writing. Instead, you're spending your time trying to figure out how to explain to someone who's not a writer how you would write something. It's the stupidest.
Yeah.
So using AI to save you time in areas of your writing life that's stupid makes some sense to me. If you're then going through and like adding your voice, I don't know, it shouldn't be like an AI's voice.
Correct.
That you're pitching, or even like AI who's creating the ideas. It's just like, here's my ideas, put this into a pitch document that sounds friendly and has a few jokes in it or whatever.
Right. And by the way, there's no going back, right? Like everyone's ideas are there. Scripts have been uploaded. People have put log lines, everything. Once you've put it's just like you're helping this machine learn.
It's true. And also the fine print is that like ChatGPT owns your whatever idea you just put in there.
But how do you police that?
I don't know.
Right? Like, what if you put in the next Star Wars, or what if it gives you the next Star Wars, but you kind of tweak it? How would it even know you released the next Star Wars, or you wrote the next Star Wars if the script sells? Or, you know, it's one of those things where I just don't understand. It feels like the Wild West, I guess, is where we're at right now. And then I'm sure that things will kind of tighten in the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay. You know how I always feel after we talk about AI.
About AI? I wish I had a more uplifting another one, but I don't.
Writing to help boost me into our main topic. All right, our main topic is one Josh does not want to do. He's been avoiding this, trying to push it away because he thinks I'm a moron.
That is not true.
But I'm very excited. I'm like a little kid who like did a crayon drawing at school and insists on doing a podcast about it. We're going to talk about my Sketchpad. Sketchpads in general. Because after I posted that I am starting to use a Sketchpad because I am in an apartment away from Los Angeles and I don't have my normal whiteboard. So how do I craft story at all?
I also want to say that this is not an ad or endorsed by any company. This is a legit thing. But I think also the note behind the note of all of this is you have figured out another way, and I don't mean to jump ahead of you, but just from knowing about you and this thing, you have figured out a great way to take notes. And this is like a new process that you have implemented into your life, which we always talk about, because if there is one thing writers can do well, it is figure out reasons why not to do something. So you have just added in another reason to do something, and in a comfortable and convenient way. Please continue.
I thought you were saying it's another way for me to procrastinate from actually writing.
Well, I'm going to look at your Sketchpad. If there's like pictures on it, it's just like smiley faces.
Here's my Sketchpad. Look how big it is. It is huge. I just got this on Amazon. We posted the link before. After I posted about the Sketchpad, a lot of people asked, well, what the hell do you use it for? So that is what this episode is about. It's about what the hell I've used it for. And I think I'm still figuring out some of the best ways to use it. So I'm just going to kind of tell you where my brain has gone. I got notes on a project, which I've been discussing, where they were like, your second act is terrible. We need you to redo it. And when you get notes like that, it's helpful to have a large space to think, right? It's helpful to be able to jot things down and be like, nope, that's a bad idea. Or Josh, I think last episode you were saying how it's really helpful to write out, again, like, okay, what's my story about? What does my character want? At this turning point that works for them, works for me, what is my character doing? What do they want at this point? So that then I can start crafting a better, stronger act two, because I am writing these down and like recalibrating myself. What better place to do that than on a giant piece of blank paper? So I just wrote down my turning points. I rewrote what I thought they were in the version that sucks. And then I did a version in taking my script that sucked down to its simplest form of all of its midpoints, or turning points rather. Like my act one status quo is this. My inciting incident is this. My break into two is this. My midpoint, my low point, my break into three, my climax, my resolution. I did all of those and put the bad version in. Now I can see it in front of me. I can see it at its simplest form, like Legos. And then on the next side, because I had a giant fucking piece of paper, I could do this. While looking at it, I could craft a new version that still got to my break into three and low point, which was still accurate, but in a new way. And then because I had so much space, I could also like just scribble notes along the way in the same area, so that the big thing that I learned in that process was allowing your brain to continually function is really helpful versus like having to literally just like turn a page and then turn back because what did you write on that last page? Okay, now you're over here. Or I have to go to a new window on my screen or whatever. Like you don't have to do any of that. You can just kind of free flow on one giant page. And that incredibly helped me. So that's one version.
Can I pause?
Please.
I want to take a step back because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've used various moleskins or different notebooks, right? So yeah. I have definitely gone down the path where I've had one notebook and I just write all my different ideas in it, or I've written act one stuff, act two stuff, whatever. And then I've been like, you know what? This is getting too jumbled. I'm going to get a different notebook for each project that I'm on. So then it's like right behind me, I have a stack of notebooks, right? Where it's, or these, the moleskin notebooks, where it's all these various ideas. And then like you're saying, I think this happened to both of us, and this probably led to this, but you lose track of what you're talking about. And so I guess what I'm asking you is, do you currently have multiple sketchpads per project, or
No.
do you have just one?
I just have one because it's so huge and I can't imagine filling my house with these. But to your point, it's so beneficial to be like, okay, this whole page is this movie. And then this whole page and the back one is this other movie that I'm working on. And it's much easier to flip through there and find all the information because it's pretty much on either one or two page, like one page front and back, than to flip through my moleskin where it's like half a moleskin is filled with one story and I have no idea where my idea from Tuesday the 25th of January is. So I have to it's just, it's jumbled. It seems like a simple thing, but it jumbles your brain in a way that this sort of handily eliminates. Mm-hmm. So now I do have, it does feel very organized because I could just, and then again, the pages are so big. I've worked so much on many different projects, but I've probably filled out 5 pages in total.
Yeah.
That's just 5 pages I'm dealing with a moleskin full of ideas on it.
I like this because when you use a whiteboard, you have to, I can't even believe I'm going to say, this is without question the most first world writery problem that I'm about to say. However, you have to bend down to get really low on the whiteboard.
Sure.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
It sounds like a sketch pad. Kind of eliminates this problem.
I don't know. The free-flowing nature of it is so handy. Okay. Next project.
I want to say another positive about your Sketchpad.
Yeah.
And this is just, I think, for all writers. I think, as we've talked about before, it is better and more beneficial for you to write things down. I think people retain information when they write things down and it's right in front of them, as opposed to having it on your computer. You just retain things differently when you write it down and you're staring at it, you're flipping a page. And so I think what you're talking about also helps eliminate like a brain rot that you can get from being on a computer for too long and the fatigue that you can get from being on a computer for too long. Please continue.
I totally agree. Okay, so we also got notes on our murder mystery spec that we're writing, Josh. And I went to the Sketchpad for this.
Yes, you did.
It's actually one of the first things I did on the Sketchpad. And a big problem that our reader had when she read it was she didn't know what it's about. Like, what is the theme? What is this? What is connecting all of the characters that's making this murder mystery cohesive, I guess. And so the Sketchpad became just about that. It was a whiteboard situation where you and I were saying, okay, what do we think it's about? Just like throw out fucking ideas and jot them down. And a lot of them are not right, but that doesn't matter. That's what the process is for. Is to just have this big space where we could just brainstorm words that we think this is about. And then once we're like, yes, it's that word, that's the theme, then we could whittle down, and we could whittle down on the same page so that it's all A, organized, but B, your brain, again, can absorb all of the information at once rather than what we've done in the past, which is be on a Google Doc together or just talking over Zoom and only one of us has the notes. Like, it could all be sort of together. And then too, like, because the way your brain works is it shifts lanes constantly, right? Because even on this page here that I'm looking at, we talked about, okay, the meaning of our movie, and then we went into characters who embody that theme. So now suddenly there's like character work that's being done over here on this corner, and because it's so big, over in the other corner now is like, okay, a more in-depth dive into theme. And the fact that it's all on one page and we can see it is, I can't express how helpful it is, because again, usually you'd flip a page and do another character thing, or it would just not be visible at the same time. And it just creates a whole picture in a way that I've never had before.
And I just want to go on record saying that I got so comfortable with you in the Sketchpad because I was like confident in what you were doing, because I was like, look at, she's taking all the notes right in front of me, that I mistakenly did not take any notes. And then I had you actually send photos of your Sketchpad, to which I then printed out and I put them up on my wall.
Connected with red yarn like a crazy man.
Pretty much.
After we did that work of figuring out the theme, we then went back into character. And the beauty of the Sketchpad was I could just do columns. We have like 7 main characters, I think we're dealing with, something like that. So now I had like huge columns with which to work from, which you can really only do on a huge whiteboard and sort of nowhere else. You can kind of do it on Millinote, but to Josh's point, it doesn't have the same, like the tactile feeling of writing. So you can retain this information, and also like free flow a lot more as you're writing than if you're typing into something. So I just created columns with character name at the top, and suddenly I had this huge space to just, and it's also like bullshit stuff too. Like it could just be a phrase, a word that we wanted to associate with this character goes in the column. Whereas I feel like for some reason when I'm typing, for some reason I have a tendency to do like full sentences, or like there's just like a formality to it that does not exist here, which is great.
I think it's funny you say that, because, and I'm saying this from a place as a writer who tries to be as productive as humanly possible, right? There's all these little hiccups. But when I was writing something on a document, I was on a Google Doc with somebody, and it kept, like, I was just jotting things down, and all I wanted to do was just spew all these things out, but it was coming up as like, correct this, and there was like red lines here, and it was press a tab here, and it was throwing me off so much. I know how ridiculous this sounds, but for me, it's, you see those little things and you're like, oh my God, all right, let me correct this sentence here real quick. But it's like, I don't want to correct the sentence. I just want to get these ideas out, and he'll understand what they mean. I'll understand what they mean. But it's just,
yes, preach. I'm going to send you a sketchpad.
I need a sketchpad. I'm going to
You need
level
a
up.
sketchpad.
I'm going to get 2 of them.
Okay, there's this other project that I'm working on, another movie idea, and it's very much an idea currently. I'm trying to put together a pitch. And I've been trying to put together a pitch for quite a while. So I got the Sketchpad out and I was like, what if I tried Sketchpad on this? And so what I did is I wrote out the setting that I want this to take place in as a column, the characters that I want to exist in this world as a column, the approach that I want to take for this movie, meaning like, let's say it's set in Mars. So I would literally just say, a murder mystery in Mars. That's my approach to this movie. Story is another column, which is just, it's plot stuff, but it's also like cool scenes I have in my head or certain arcs that I want the movie to take. And these could all be bad ideas. It could be good ideas. It could be exactly what the movie's going to be or not. It's just a place for me to put every idea.
Yeah.
Like, even if it ends up being that or not, or even if I think that's stupid, I'm still going to put it down because it could lead to something as soon as you write it. Another column is tone and theme. Another column is cool stuff, which is fun to have because you don't know where it goes. You just know, like, I can picture this moment and it's so fucking cool. Or I can picture this kind of gun in my world and that's really cool. Like, that stuff goes there. And you just fill out these columns and you can, the beauty of having this kind of space is that if I was on a computer or a Moleskine, it would be, okay, 1 page is characters, 1 page is setting, but I have to flip through them. Mm-hmm. But now seeing it all, I can go from setting to character very fluidly. And I could work in multiple columns at the same exact time. And there's, again, something happens with your creative process when you're able to do all of these things at once that feels incredibly freeing and also moves you closer and faster to your idea. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I feel like I've discovered the holy grail with this, because I don't even use my whiteboard for this, though I will now when I go home. But yeah. Also a whiteboard you have to erase and then do another project. Mm-hmm. When you have another project, you have to erase your whiteboard. That's not helpful. I don't like taking pictures of it. That's not as good. Now I still have it in my Sketchpad.
So it's brilliant. I'm not going to lie. I think it's brilliant. It's a perfect tool for a writer, and I think it's often overlooked.
It's so good. That's all I got, I guess. The other things I've used it for are pretty obvious. Oh, I want to show you this. So I'm that movie I'm breaking where the act 2 sucks. I need to try a bunch of different versions. So what I ended up doing was I broke it up into Act 2A and Act 2B. Act 2A goes on one side of the Sketchpad page. Act 2B went on the second side of the Sketchpad page. And then I realized my Act 2B, I don't like it, but I like my Act 2A. Fuck, what do I do? Do I tear out Act 2B? No, I do not. I fold it.
You did it. That's what I just looked at. A folded Sketchpad.
I fold it, and then you just do Act 2B on the next page, and it looks like it's the same page. You guys, I feel like I've discovered the secret to life.
You've somehow merged a whiteboard, a computer, a typewriter, and a Moleskine into a Sketchpad.
It's so good.
All right.
Thank you for letting me nerd out about my Sketchpad.
No, your excitement has almost made me want to get one.
Almost.
I want to. My problem is I have the whiteboard, I have the Moleskines, the computer. And it's like I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I'm not joking. I think sometimes, wait, where did I write that note down? Because I use my notes on my phone sometimes if I'm somewhere. And then obviously that links back up to your computer, and I'll always kind of review that. My process is, it's
you don't want to
one.
add another thing.
I'm a little scared.
This is gonna like probably replace a couple things and probably be better than a couple things.
Wow. How dare you? That's a whiteboard.
I owe you a birthday present. I could just send you one just so you could see.
Okay. I guess.
That's all I got. If you guys have more questions for some reason about sketchpads and or you have one and you've used one forever and I'm an idiot for not getting to it sooner, please send what you do. I'm so curious.
Can you tell us the size that your sketchpad is?
Oh gosh, can I ever? This thing is 18 by 24 inches.
Okay.
There are 24 pages in it, which seems like too little. But yeah, it's a Strathmore drawing pad. I got it on Amazon, or you can get it at any craft store.
There you go.
Okay. Quote of the day. Learning to make films is very easy. Learning what to make films about is very hard. George Lucas. Please remember to rate and subscribe. Follow us at ActTwoWriters for more awesome writing stuff. You can follow me, Tasha, at Story Thursday on Instagram, or on Twitter and Blue Sky at Tasha 3.0.
I'm Josh Hallman on Instagram, Joshua Hallman on Twitter.
And as always, the Act Two podcast is a production of Act Two, a network and support group for the everyday working screenwriter. This episode was edited by Paul Lundquist.